Hi guys, welcome to the Citizen channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. Please, if you are new to this channel, please push that subscribe button. We do everything City, past and present here on these little vlogs, so I do try and inform and entertain, and there's some links on screen as well for Facebook and Twitter where I do post loads of city stuff. So if you follow a friend me on there, I do check every few days and follow and friend everyone back. And if you do get a chance, please have a check out my film and TV channel as well, which I try and inform and entertain on there, and all the latest films and TV drama here in the UK and from around the world. So if you can check that out, that will be fantastic. Anyway, hope you enjoy today's feature. Welcome to Match Report, where we look back at what turned into a bit of a disappointing evening at the Parc des Princes in Paris, didn't it? PSG 2, Manchester City 0. 8 p.m. kickoff on the 28th of September 2021. So match day 2 of the Champions League. Yes, wasn't great, but let's have a quick talk about it, shall we? And let's get over this and move on, as we say. Move on to the Scousers. Sunday, that's all we can do, isn't it? The City lineup, yeah, I only got 5 correct with the lineup. Totally flummoxed there by Pep. He went quite strong, although obviously within that strength, there's perhaps 1 or 2 weaknesses that we'll probably talk about. But we went Edison, Walker, Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte, Rodri, Bernardo, De Bruyne, Sterling, Grealish and Mahrez. And on the bench, you had Stefan, Carson, Stones, Ake, Jesus, Torres, Fernandinho, Foden, McAtee and Wilson Esbrand. Nice for those 2 guys to get on the bench as well, wasn't it? PSG, yeah, not a bad PSG team, was it? Donnarumma, whatever he's called, the goalkeeper. Yeah, quite impressed with him. Hakimi, Kimpembe, Marquinhos, Nuno Mendes, Verratti, Gea. Or is it Gea? I don't know how you pronounce that. Herrera, Mbappe, Neymar, and of course Messi, who made a sort of Lazarus-like resurrection from a bad knee injury, a bad leg, a bad something anyway. But no surprise there. And of course, the referee was the wonderful, happy, Mr. Cheerful himself, Carlos del Quero Grande of Spain, and his VAR guy who could have had a busy night, but obviously chose not to, probably. Juan Martinez Minera. The match report itself, yeah, well, City went in at half time, didn't we? 1-0 down, despite, let's face it, we were slightly the better team on chances and creativity, etc. But of course, PSG looked what we sort of expected. They looked sharp and efficient on the break, and that's what we did. I mean, certainly no surprise to me. I'm sure it didn't come as a big surprise to Pep, but I say when you go behind after 8 minutes, an unstoppable Gea, is it his name, shot into the top corner. That was just the difference between the teams, unfortunately. Of course, there was an element of fortune, as you know, in the same way that City got a little bit of an element of fortune against Chelsea at weekend. These things happen. Neymar sort of did a bit of who pretty much did nothing during the game. Let's face it, I'm not a big fan of Neymar's, to be honest with you. Did an air shot, didn't it? It sort of just nudged the ball on via another deflection, obviously into the path of Gea, or whatever he's called. But a lethal finish, fantastic finish. You can't take anything away from him, but he took it really well. But to be 1-0 down after 8 minutes to PSG, I mean, I likened it perhaps to being 1-0 down against, say, if you were playing Chelsea. It's going to be that sort of game. I mean, they had a back line of 5 and 3 or 4 players in front of it at some stage, so not a lot of room, and they dropped deep as well. Not a lot of room for City to move into, and being 1-0 down at that stage, I must admit, I was a little bit worried that we would lack perhaps the creativity to get in behind them, which was virtually impossible with that sort of back line. PSG had 2 or 3 more half chances, an okay one on to save from Edison towards the end of the half, but yeah, that was about it, really. They didn't really trouble us apart from the goal, and it was, of course, City creating more. The keeper made 2 or 3 good saves. Cancelo and Diaz header. Either guy had put the shot or the header perhaps a foot or 2 either side of the keeper. We may have had an equaliser, but of course the best chance came from Sterling. I mean, it's a good header from Sterling, don't get me wrong. I mean, he hit the bar with it, the goalie was beaten. And then rather than hit the goalie and rebound into the net, hit the goalie and fell nicely for Our little Duracell birdie, didn't it, Bernardo? But he somehow managed to hit virtually the same spot that Sterling had hit with his header with the shot, and hit the bar again. And obviously, I think he was claiming for a penalty, but I don't think he's ever going to get that in a million years. But there you go. That was probably our best chance of an equaliser, and obviously we don't have a sniff. We don't have a sniffer, do we? We had a sniffer at weekend. It was Jesus, but we didn't have. Obviously, Bernardo doesn't fit into the sniffer Clark role, does he? As putting those in the net. But in his defence, perhaps the ball was rising a little bit as he hit it, and that didn't help. And if he'd waited it, or sort of waited for it to head it, or come back down, it probably would have been too late. So instinct, isn't it? And he's not, at the end of the day, a midfielder's instinct as opposed to a striker's instinct. Perhaps that's a problem, but we know that anyway, don't we? So no good banging on about it. Second half, again, I think City, we huffed and puffed, didn't we? We didn't blow the house down, though, did we? Unfortunately, the PSG keeper, Donnarumma, whatever his name was good enough, wasn't he? He was good enough. He didn't have to be great. He just had to be good to keep a clean sheet, because obviously we did lack that little bit of nous or whatever when it came to that final touch, unfortunately. So he was good. I wouldn't say he was great, and unfortunately, perhaps to beat keepers, you have to be something a little bit special, don't you? And we just weren't good enough, unfortunately. PSG just soaked it up, didn't they? And they just, that sucker punch on 74 minutes. Did you ever think City were going to come back into it? I mean, let's face it, Messi was virtually non-existent. He worked hard, but he didn't create much. Did a great run, and obviously a nice little 1-2 with Mbappe, and it was in the net. Something we were sadly lacking, that ability to do that. But then again, we never got the sort of room that we allowed PSG as we pushed forward to try and get that equaliser. But with 20 minutes left, I never thought we were going to get a goal. To be honest with you, we could have carried on all night. I don't think we would have got one. Foden came on for Grealish. He couldn't inspire anything, and similarly, Jesus couldn't inspire anything when he replaced Sterling. But again, perhaps far too late. Lots of possession and shots, and lots more shots. I think treble shots. We had treble PSG shots. Don't count for anything, do they? If you can't make the goalkeeper work more than doing a good job, then obviously the goalkeeper did enough, and we weren't outstanding enough to beat him, unfortunately. But there you go. We move on, don't we? The key stats from the game: PSG 6 shots, 3 on target. City 18 shots, 7 on target. But so it is a tale we've heard before, but we're not gonna, at the end of the day, they could have got a couple of those could have gone in. It would have been a different game, but that's football, isn't it? Unfortunately, PSG had 46% possession, so City edged possession, of course. Pass percentages, completion 86 from PSG and 89% from City. So even we're better on that. And I don't think there's a lot of pace in the game. I think that's where we struggled. We couldn't get any pace in the game because of the way PSG played it, to be honest with you. They didn't allow us that. They sort of controlled the pace of the game themselves, and we were a little bit lacklustre in comparison. And you can't start knocking it about if you've got no room to knock the ball about, certainly where it matters. Right, on to the ratings. Stuart Brennan's doing the evening news ones. I'll start with a 6 out of 10 for this. So if the guys I thought did better, they'll get better than a 6. If they did worse, they'll get less than a 6. And there's 1 or 2 today got less than a 6. Ederson, I mean, I'm going to look at the defence quite separately. I don't think they got a lot of help. I mean, Rodri did a good job, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they got much help. And obviously, PSG were always going to be hard to peg back on the break. And there's always a chance we're going to score 1 or 2. It's just a matter of us making sure we score 1 or 2 as well, which we didn't. So I've not been overly unfair on the defence today, I don't think, with these ratings. Anyway, I'll give you Stuart's comments and then I'll just add my little bit at the end. Ederson, Stewart said, a good reflex save from Herrera. Otherwise, he was well protected by his defence. No chance with the goal. Stewart's given him a 6. I can't argue. I'll give him a steady 6. Not a lot to do. And as I say, he didn't really have any chance with the goals. I don't think you can particularly blame Ederson. So I'll give him a 6 as well. Kyle Walker, against a deadly counter-attack, his pace was a major plus for City on several occasions. I think it was. Certainly the first half, I think more perhaps than the second. Stuart's been generous, give him a 7. I am going to give him half a mark more than 6, which is quite good today, that 6.5. But I thought not perhaps as much in the second half, but the danger when it came didn't really come from his side in the second half, did it? But you can't ask him to go doing everything, can you? But there you go. I'll give him a 6.5 anyway. Ruben Diaz Stewart says, had his work out against faster opponents, but won a fair share of battles. He did. Again, I say, perhaps him and his centre-half partner could have done better, but as I said, I'm going to be kinder with the defence because we didn't have a lot of cover in front of them, and obviously you're playing against Messi, you're playing against Mbappe, aren't you? I won't mention the other guy because I think he's just a waste of space, to be honest with you, but yeah, so Stuart's given Ruben Diaz 6. I'm just going to give him the steady 6 as well. Same with Aymeric Laporte. I'm going to give him a 6. Stuart says 3 timely tackles and some stoic defending, but was nowhere for both goals. Well, not many of them were, but so again, Stuart's giving him a 6. I'm going to give him a 6. Cancelo couldn't get to the front foot as he did at Chelsea, and PSG targeted the space in behind him very effectively. Yeah, he's only given him a 5. Again, I think he's a little bit unfair there. I think, yeah, he did struggle, but I mean that was bound to happen, wasn't it, with this against the PSG team and the attack that they've got. So I'm going to give him a steady 6. As I said, I'm not going to mark any of the defenders less than a 6, to be honest with you today. Rodri Stewart said, tried Manford to keep the ball penned in the PSG half and succeeded for long spells. Did some decent defensive work too. He certainly did, yeah. Stewart's given him a 7. Again, I'm going to give him half a point extra. I'm going to give him 6.5. I thought it was again another good game yesterday. Obviously, he did a lot of good things, and you can't particularly blame him for anything specific, but overall, I don't think it was the most impressive City display. It was just a standard good display. We didn't quite hit it off. So I will give him a 6.5. So he's a little bit better than 6 anyway. Bernardo Silva, another almighty shift from the Duracell man. I'm sure he's nicked that off me. But how did he miss from a yard out? Yeah, well, Stewart's given him a 6. I mean, he's been kind. I've only given Bernardo 5.5 basically because of that miss, to be honest with you. I thought it worked hard, but not his greatest game. Need a little bit more from him like we did from a couple of other midfielders, but it didn't happen, did it? So I'm just going to give him a 5.5 Bernardo. You know me, I don't usually like giving Bernardo low scores, but that'll have to do for me for last night. KDB still not 100%. He certainly isn't, but his best moment, says Stuart, was wasted by Sterling and Bernardo. Yeah, I mean, he's going to create something at some stage. And Stuart's given him a 6, but again, I expect more from him as I did from Bernardo last night, and I got a 5.5 from me. Not enough for me. A couple of good chances that he screwed wide, or the goalkeeper managed to save the other one without knowing too much about it. That's his second, if you like, another Champions League game. If you think of the fan, I'm going back to the final, that he went a little bit missing in, which he did in that one till he got it. Obviously, he got a little bit escaped because of his injury, but he wasn't at it again last night, so he's not 100% obviously. But sometimes you can come back and fly a flyer, can't he? But he just lacked something yesterday. But again, he didn't have much space to play into again, did he? I mean, he said the lines PSG played at the back, he didn't have a lot to play with, so. But I can only give him a 5.5. Mahrez presented plenty of threat, but took the selfish option a couple of times, had too little end product. So Stuart just give him a 5. Again, I'm going to give him a 5.5. He tried within the levels of what he is. And again, I said, against that PSG mass defence yesterday, it's not the sort of style he wants to play against, and he couldn't really do too much. So Stuart give him a 5. I'll give him a 5.5. Raheem Sterling should have scored with the header and gave plenty of notice that his finishing had gone backwards. It certainly has. I mean, Stuart's give him a 5. I'll give him a 5.5. He got in all the right positions. He made some great moves, some great runs. He just doesn't finish it off, unfortunately, does he? But this is what Pep's been doing. So you have to ask the question, why Pep? Why play him? I have no idea why he played him today last night, to be honest with you. I knew he would play a weakened team, and I thought Sterling would play, but based on the fact he in the end played a strong team, that's why I'm saying about why did he play Sterling? Because if he's going to play a strong team, I'm sorry, Sterling isn't a strong player. He should have played someone else. Should have played one of the other guys, Torres or Jesus or something. I just don't understand where he played him and why he played him, even though I said I wanted him in the team, because I thought Pep was going to make 5 or 6 changes, but he didn't. He went strong. So why, if he goes strong, why ruin it all by putting an out of form Sterling up front as a false 9? I have no idea. Anyway, Jack Grealish kept isolating Hakimi, but could not get the better of him, and his work became increasingly sloppy. Yeah, Stuart's only give him a 5. Again, I'm not giving anyone less than 5.5, and I'll give Grealish a 5.5. So one of those games where he looked a bit lazy. He isn't. He worked as hard as he could, but I'm sure he was asked to hug that byline by Pep, and it never really worked against PSG's formation last night. And Pep didn't seem to want to change things that much, which he doesn't. He sticks with what he does, doesn't he? Let's be honest about it. Yeah, the PSG were far too organised. So if his debut against Red Bull was RB was good, this was probably brought him a little bit back down to earth for me. So I'll give him a 5.5 anyway. Foden for Grealish, 68. Did more in his first 5 minutes than Grealish had. Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to mark him. Stuart's given him a 7, a bit over the top, but I would have preferred Foden to start the game if he's going strong, or at least come on a bit earlier. But that's not Pep, is it? That's not Pep's way. Gabi Jesus for Sterling on 78, no time to mark to Stuart. Yeah, I can't disagree. Didn't have time to do too much, to be honest with you. It's just, for me, just pointless substitutions. I'm not going to give a man of the match. If I did give a man of the match, it would probably be Rodri, but I just thought generally the overall performance, I'm not going to give a City man of the match. I don't think they deserve it, to be honest with you. They did try, but they just weren't good enough on the night. Now, the overall record now stands played 6 against PSG. We've won 3, drawn 2, and now we've lost 1, the first time we've lost against them. Scored 7 and let 5 in. So PSG going forward, yeah, I mean, after a setback at Bruges, they now lead the group, so that's sort of not a bad little thing for them. Obviously, with RB to come up back to backs with them, isn't it? So they'll be confident of getting another 6 points and obviously staying top of the group, which they will do if they do that. A back 7 or 8 most of the game. Yeah, this tactic works. They know they've got players up front who can, somewhat on a couple to feed them, that can actually cause problems and have produced moments of magic. So they can get away with that. If we did that, we wouldn't get away with it because we've not got that ability. But similar to Chelsea, if you go a goal behind PSG, if you start having to chase the game, this is even better for that sort of formation with the guys who got up front. But yeah, they are a much better team than last season. A lot of people aren't giving them credit this season. They've improved their starting 11 no end. PSG, City, I don't think have. We've improved our squad very slightly by adding 1 player, but we've not improved our starting 11. And they were a very, very different proposition to the PSG we played last season. And I think at the end of the day, they looked it as well. And Pochettino looked happy, and I'm sure he had a right to be happy. It wasn't pretty to watch, but it was effective, and that's what Europe games have to be sometimes. It's not always a matter of being pretty and playing it around, and that was just an effective, efficient performance from PSG. I mean, they could win the French League. Don't forget, they've won 8 on the trot in the French League. They're unbeaten in the French League, all right? Farmers League, people call it, but all respect to them. I mean, you've got to beat what's in front of you. And they could have that league won by Christmas, which will certainly make it easy for them in the new year when they hopefully they get in the Champions League qualifying, into the rounds, the knockout rounds. But they could sort of just grind out and bore most opponents to death this season, the Champions League, and quite on the basis of what I saw last night, there's absolutely no reason why they can't lift that Champions League this season, especially if they keep Mbappe and Messi fit. Although Neymar, as I said, remains overrated in my opinion. If someone offered him to City, I wouldn't have him in a million years. And I think his usefulness is when they're 1-0 up and they want to waste time or something like that. So that's when he's at his best, because he can just fall over and pretend he's injured and stuff like that. But apart from that, I think he's bang average. But he does a useful job on that score, wasting time. So there you go. City going forward, yeah. Well, we sit 3rd now, don't we? We're in Europa League spot. I'm sure it won't be that bad. I'm sure we'll be okay. As I said, I think Pep went a little bit stronger in certain positions, but sort of let himself down again by just relying on people who haven't really done it for him. And this is the problem. I mean, if you're going to go strong, Pep, go strong. Play your strongest team. Again, even though he went strong, that was nowhere near his strongest team last night. And to be beaten 2-0 in the end is a disappointment. I mean, I would have accepted a goal disadvantage, but I think we just lacked a lot of, showed a bit of naivety again in Europe, which I was hoping after, progressing last year, we wouldn't do that. I thought we might be a bit cleverer. You got to be a bit cleverer. Certainly, if you've been in Europe for a long time, you've got to have a little bit of nous, and we didn't show any of that last night for me. Yes, PSG were effective in defence, of course we were, but we did have 3 or 4 chances, really good chances, where we could have done a lot better and made the goalkeeper actually made some superb saves rather than making just very good saves, which is what he did most of the night. And there was other half chances as well, which we could have, of course, turned into something. But yes, it was a game we could afford to lose, but it doesn't make it any more palatable, to be honest with you. Of the 3 games that we were playing, this was, for me, the least not winnable, the least one we wanted to win, because it certainly probably was winnable. Yeah, all of a sudden, the 2 games against Bruges now have not been perhaps as comfortable as they should be. Obviously, I think we played them at home first, so that's not too bad. But got to win them 2 now. To be honest with you, we don't want to put any more extra pressure on ourselves. Obviously, as I say, it'd be very interesting. We didn't play badly, but as I said, we have to be a bit smarter, I think, in Europe. And I thought we might be after last season, but there's still a lot of the old City problems. Last night, certainly, that we do see against these good organised teams, and it was no different last night. But at least last night we created stuff. We had the opportunity to try and do something. I mean, sometimes we just don't create that number of chances. But last night we just didn't have the tenacity or guile to finish them off, unfortunately. Yes, we had the trickery. We did have trickery. We had trickery with Mahrez and Grealish, didn't we, last night? Unfortunately, it was against a massed PSG defence, which... Mahrez and Grealish, the trickery is a little bit slow and plodding, if you can use the word plodding, and a bit obvious at times. And I think obviously PSG soon got the number of people like Grealish and Mahrez what they were doing. And as I say, when you have 5, 6, 7, 8 men in your own, in your own third of the pitch, back third of the pitch. You can afford for this little bit of trickery, and then obviously if he gets past one player, there's someone else there to sort of step in as well. But yeah, it's much better if it's at pace, this trickery. If it's a slow build-up, it's not as effective. And I think that was the main problem. That's why I wanted Foden on. That's why I wanted Foden playing, because I think Foden's got that little bit of extra trickery pace that perhaps Mahrez and Grealish don't have to actually do it from midfield, and that would have helped KDB as well in his role if Foden had been on the pitch. But there you go. There must be a decision for that. I'm sure Foden is totally fit. He's hardly played any games, so I just don't understand the logic. I think that was a big mistake by Pep, but hey, Pep knows best. He's paid the big money, isn't it? But and even to bring him on later, bring him on. But it's not Pep's way, is it? He's not going to bring him on at half time or with 30 minutes left. I think he gave him 20 odd minutes. He brought him on the 68th minute last night, but. There you go. That's just how Pep is. There'll be the normal platitudes, of course. Obviously, the normal brave words from the players will learn and all this sort of rubbish that we come out with. But that sort of games like last night don't inspire me to believe that we can go one better. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, we'll go one better this year and win the Champions League." But it's one game, it's one team. PSG are a very good team. Don't get me wrong, but I don't have any real. 100% faith we can actually lift it this year based on that, but it is early. It's early doors, and things may look a lot different by the time February, March comes around. Who knows? Things might have changed in the squad as well, and obviously who knows what will happen. But let's get through the group first. You can only get through first. Let's make sure we batter Bruges home and away, and then obviously we should be okay and get revenge on PSG as well. So there's certainly no reason why we shouldn't. By that stage, it might all be over, and perhaps they'll play a weakened team or whatever. But it doesn't matter one way or the other. Let's get revenge on them, because I didn't like to see Mr. Pochettino's smiling face last night. I must admit, it did gripe on me just a little bit. That's the bad loser in me. I don't like losing. I never have done. Not in my own personal life, and certainly not watching my football team. But you think I would have been used to it, wouldn't you? All the years, but I never did get used to losing. I hated it. But we'll see. Onwards and upwards, on to Liverpool, of course. And please, we'll leave that PSG game behind us there and move on. That's all we can do, isn't it? And of course, I'll have a preview of the Liverpool game. There'll be a History Boys feature looking back at Yeah, Keegan led City visiting Benitez. Benitez has led Liverpool, in his first season at Liverpool. So have a look at that History Boys feature if you get a chance. And of course, I'll be doing the odd show. And there should be some good value. And just to let you know, my last I added more. Another win for the charity bet. So the pot's going up now. So join me for that odd show to see what to keep my fingers crossed. What we're going to have a little flutter on for the charities as well. So please check those out if you can. Anyway, leave us your comments. Let us know what any player ratings, any kind. Get lots of comments, of course. Just leave us your comments on what you thought of the game. That'd be great. I just want to hear what you want, and I'll try and answer every comment, of course, even if it's just to acknowledge it. But I'll try and give a little word about whatever you say. So that'd be fantastic. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have you got to do rest day? Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More important, let's all look after each other. So we meet here again on the Citizen channel, or perhaps have a flit across. If you're fed up with football, I'm going to have a rest. I'm going to watch a film or two today. If you're fed up with football, please check out my film and TV channel as well. Try and inform and entertain on there. But until we meet back, whether it's there or back on here, back on the Citizen channel, I only ever ask one thing. Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.